Good morning, my friends.
Good morning.
Don't you just love music?
Yes.
Sometimes I think we should just come here and just do music on Sunday. Maybe we'll have a just music Sunday at some point. Yeah. Oh, that could be fun. So speaking of music, I do have a little announcement I want to share with you before we go into anything else. And some of you have probably heard the murmurs. But Lori Rivera, Gitanjali Lori Rivera, is here today, and she's been with us, as you've noticed, in the last number of months. And as you've seen, Lori's offering a concert here, and she's offering a yoga class. And Lori, starting in September, is going to be coming on as our minister of music.
Nice.
And Lori's going to be working with the band. We have a number of musical things we want to bring to the center, and one of those things is going to be the CSL choir. So if you're interested in participating in the choir, do see Lori, come talk to me. We'll have a sign-up sheet as of next week. We do want to get that rolling, and I think our intention is to have our choir perform its first time together for us at our winter solstice service on December 21st. So some magical, wonderful things are beginning to sparkle and pop around here, and so more from Lori and more on that in the coming weeks. So welcome, Lori. We're grateful. Let's take a couple breaths, if we will. Let everything out first. And take a deep breath in. And let go. Another deep breath. And let go. Another deep breath in. And let go. So, a number of things have happened and are happening this week that I want to share with you. First is that a dear, long-time someone that I've known, who I've looked up to for many, many, many years, whose name was Michael Parcher, and he was the board president for diddle-umpteen years at the Center for Spiritual Living in Camarillo, where Reverend Grace and I come from. And Michael Parcher is 92, I believe, and just passed away this week. And so Reverend Grace is down with that community, connecting with them, supporting the family and the community around that. And I also want you to know that there's been another transition in this community this week. Victoria, our beautiful butterfly, if you would just stand up for a moment.
I'm still here.
Yes, Victoria's still here. But Victoria's beloved husband and partner, Fred Kramer, left his body this Thursday. And transitioned into his next life and his next yet to be. And it's been a tradition in this community for a long time that when one of us transitions into the next life, that we just want to light a candle and just honor that infinite life force that is always here. And even when we leave our body, the memory, the spirit, the essence of who we are is still here with us forever. And Ernest Holmes reminds us in our We Believe statement for Science of Mind, that we believe in the eternality, the individuality, and the continuity of the individual soul forever and ever expanding. I don't necessarily know what that means, but it gives me this sense that whatever is beyond this life is more expansive than this one. That the nature of the universe is to continuously expand. That the nature of energy is that energy cannot be created or destroyed, and we are made of energy. And so let us know that when we leave these bodies, we expand into the more of us. And so I just...
Fred's last words. He said, "Don't worry, I believe in biology. It's all good." And his last book that he read was Science and Religion, and I highly recommend it.
Beautiful. And I talked to Victoria this morning, and she told me that Fred spent his last day sitting in the sun and eating peaches from a tree that he had planted.
Wow. Wow.
What a blessing. Yeah. So if you will, just take another deep breath as we just honor Fred and also our beloved Michael. As I light this candle, to just remind each one of us that the light of who we are is eternal. And Victoria, we love you and lift you up in this process. And if y'all can just give this woman some love today, she'll take it. And I have one more announcement to make, which is that many of you who've been members of the center around here for a long time, some of us know Wendy Edmonds, who's been dealing with cancers and some things for the last 16 years. And she, for those of you who know Wendy, she is light, she is love, she is pure joy. And Wendy is currently in the process of making her transition. And she's in her last number of days here with us in this form. And I had a profound honor of sitting with Wendy earlier this week, and I'm going to go visit her one more time. And the thing that she wants all of you to know is that she is at peace. That when we sat together, to sit with someone who is sitting perhaps days away from walking through the door into the next life, and for her to greet me with a smile, to tell me the beautiful life that she's lived and the gratitude for the experiences that she's had, for the knowing that she is eternal and will continue to be even beyond this moment. The depth of joy and beauty and love that was present with her in my meeting, and I know a couple of folks have visited her this week and had similar experiences of just the absolute grace. And Wendy and I had a conversation, and a teacher of mine many years ago said to me that everyone dies how they lived. Everyone dies how they lived. Which means that the essence of who we are, the truth of who we are, the patterns that we've created in our life, the consciousness that we've cultivated, is the thing that shows up in those last moments. And in the last number of years, I've had the profound honor of being with a number of beloveds of mine in our community and other communities that I've been part of in those last days and hours. And something that I've observed about people who participate in this mental philosophy that we do, that says that God is all there is, that says that we are eternal, that says that you've never made a mistake, that says there's no such thing as sin, that says that God is who you are. Every person that I have sat with has walked through that door with a sense of joy and anticipation and possibility as they enter into the mystery. And some of them I've watched with deep suffering in their bodies as they've approached that threshold. And they have taught me what it means to see truth, to speak truth to circumstance. That regardless of what shows up in our bodies, regardless of what shows up in the world, regardless of what experiences come to us, the power of our philosophy, the power of our spiritual practice, the power of oneness is that no matter what shows up, we can anchor ourselves into a deeper awareness that there's something more at work here. Even if the circumstances don't change, even if the physical healing doesn't happen, even if the world doesn't turn around, the work that we do shifts what's happening inside of us. And actually, that's all that really matters, is what's happening deep within us when we see what's happening, the way that we respond, what we cultivate within us in relationship to what shows up. And if we choose to look for something deeper, if we choose to look for God, if we choose to remember our eternality, if we choose to look for the perfection, we will find it. Even in the most complicated, difficult, unfortunate things that come, we can find the depth of the mystery that is there. And what I want to say to us today is that if these beloveds who have transitioned and are transitioning into the next life, stepping into the mystery, stepping into the unknown, the greatest mystery, the greatest unknown that stands before any one of us, if they can step across that threshold with a sense of awe and wonder of what is coming, could we deal with the unknowns in our daily lives with that same sense of awe and possibility? Right? Because there's nothing more mysterious and unknown than what happens when we cross that threshold. And I guarantee you that anything that comes before that, there's an opportunity there. What if we were willing to walk through our lives with such a sense of awe and wonder that everything that came our way became an invitation of how we can step into the mystery, how we can step into the unknown? Because so often I sit with folks who are at a threshold in their life and they say, I don't know what's next. I don't know how to get to the next thing. I don't know how we're going to solve this. I don't know how I'm going to get out of this situation. I don't know what's next. I'm so afraid of what's in front of me. Well, what if instead of being afraid, we were in absolute wonder of what could be? What if instead of being afraid of the unknown, we were willing to recognize that in the unknown, in the mystery, is where God lives? That any time the unknown is in front of you, you can either step into this place of I'm blind and I can't see and I don't know what's in front of me, therefore I'm afraid and it's dark and what's going to happen, or we can tell ourselves, I don't know what's on the other side of this. Infinite possibility awaits me. What would our lives look like if every single thing that came at us we saw as an invitation to be open to the more? With an understanding that even if nothing changes, something deep within us can change. And if every one of us dies how we live, then let's start practicing now how we want to go out. Right? Because if you are living in fear, if you're clenching on to what is known, if you are holding so tightly to your ways of doing things, if you're holding resentments or anger, guess what? Those are the things that are going to show up in the end. So let's all start doing the cleanup work now. Let's start looking at our minds. Let's start looking at our choices. Let us start looking at what it is we're cultivating within ourselves, what it is we're saying is our truth, who it is we are saying we are, how it is that we are showing up with the people we interact with in the world, and recognize that everything is a reflection, and all that you are is and always will be, and in the end will be fully reflected back to you. And so if life, the infinite, God, the mystery is a mirror, we get to choose what we see in that reflection. And so I just want to bring this forward today as we be in this idea of speaking truth to circumstances this month, especially as we look out into the world. And there is so much unknown in front of us. There is so much that seems like it's wrong or broken or diseased or needs to be shifted or changed or turned around. We have got to be willing to look at what is, even that which seems so incredibly wrong, and look into it from a higher place. In synthesis, we talk about this idea of zooming in and zooming out. And thanks for the song From a Distance, right? Because I use this analogy in my class that when we get into one of those moments in our lives where something's happening in the world, something's happening in our bodies, something terrible is taking place that's captured our attention, it's like we've walked up to a painting and we're looking at it like this, with our nose against it. And when my nose is against the wall, when my nose is against the painting, all that I can see is this portion of it right here. And it seems so big, and it seems so much. It's only when I take steps back that I can actually see the whole painting. And if I take another step back, I can see the painting is on a wall, and I can see that that wall is in a gallery, and I can see that it's like the further we step back, the more context we get. And the smaller that thing that was here appears. And I believe that spiritual practice, meditation, chanting, prayer, all the things that we bring forth in this place, these are the practices that invite us to zoom out, to step back, to get away from the realness, the bigness of what appears to be in front of us, and allow ourselves to see it in a greater context. And if we can zoom back far enough and see through the eyes of God from a distance, it's all beautiful. It's all perfect. It all fits into the great wholeness. It's only when we're smack up in it that it's so hard to see our way around it. So we cultivate the awareness that allows us to zoom out, to see the bigger picture, to see it all through the eyes of God, so that eventually when we zoom out all the way, God is all that we see. It's all that we become, because it's the truth of who we are already. Let's just remember it now so that when the time comes, that's what shows up in our experience. Okay? So that's what I have today. Take a deep breath in and let it go. And take another deep breath and let go. One more deep breath in. And so as we breathe together, I remind myself and each one of us that we are being breathed by God. That each one of us is being breathed by that great breath of life, that one infinite beingness that I call God. But what I mean by God is everything. The universe, consciousness, energy, life force, that I am, that each one of us and all things are. One life, one power, one infinite beingness that is living and breathing throughout the entirety of the universe. That is the truth of who we are, each one of us. Manifestations of that one mind, emanations of that one light. We are the place where the one heart is beating into the world. Let us remember that each one of us is the place where spirit is revealing itself in the world in new ways. Let each one of us realize that our precious human lives are unique, are sacred, are perfect, that each one of us came here to express something, to be something, to call upon something, and perhaps each one of us was born as an answer to a prayer. Let us learn to live as if we are that. Let us live as if each one of us is a living miracle. Let us live as if everything that comes our way is an invitation to see the oneness, to see the love, to see the more, and not only to see it, but to choose it, to be it, to activate it, to awaken it, to reveal it not only to ourselves, but to each other, to our communities, and to the world. Because this idea, God is all that there is more radical than I think we can wrap our minds around. But let us be grateful for this incomprehensible truth that is here for us should we be willing to look for it. Let us be grateful for everything that comes our way as it invites us into the unknown, as it invites us into the mystery, as it invites us into the possibility, as it invites us into the future. And so in this moment, I just remind myself and each one of us once again that there is a power for good in this universe that is so much greater than we are, and yet it is who we are. It is moving through us in everything we do. Let us get out of the way and allow it to be as us. Let each one of us be the place where the light of God shines into the world. I'm grateful for this precious life, and I let it be as it is becoming. And so it is. Thank you, my friends. Beth.